Oh, Melody, delighted to be meeting with you. Myself and Steve Evans here.
Hello. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm very good, thanks, Melody. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, good.
A little
Hi,
tired, but hi, Steve.
tired.
How are you?
Hi, yeah. You said you're tired. Is that because something to do? No, it's midday, isn't it? In wherever
It
you are, is it
is,
illness?
but we've had like a 30-degree temperature drop. It went
Ooh,
from like 90 to
Wow.
60 overnight, and I'm just like, it's nap time now. It's so nice and cool outside. I'm like, I'm just ready
Yeah,
to sleep the day away. I'm
I
not going
thought
to.
I thought we were having some extreme weather differences, but that's quite drastic, isn't it?
it is.
30,
Yeah,
30
that's
difference, you know.
pretty typical for October in Illinois. We had kind of a long, drawn out summer, and now it just crashed straight
Love
into
it.
autumn. So
Chatted to another resident of where you live not so long
mhm.
ago, Alhanda.
Yes,
He recommended a chat with you. Does he live nearby? And do you know? Well, you obviously know
he's
him.
he's actually in the other room. Al and I
What?
share a house.
You kidding?
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. We met
Really?
about, I think, yeah, we met
Oh,
in, I think, 2012 online.
yeah,
And we just had a friendship online,
yeah.
no, just real casual. And then I was actually online when he was in the process of becoming homeless. And I had a homeless situation of my own. So I reached out to him and I'm like, anything I can do, we kind of just started talking. And then during the course of his homelessness, he became friends with a mutual friend of mine. And he ended up moving out to Wisconsin when after his dog Ivy passed. There was really no reason to, hang out in California. So he ended up going out to Wisconsin and stayed there for a while. And then that didn't work out. And he found another roommate here in Illinois. And that kind of fell through because the woman that owned the house sold the house. And then I was like, well, why don't you just come stay with us? So he's been in the extra room ever since.
right. Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense now.
We're real good friends. We're housemates. We don't see, like, he's always in his room working and I'm always downstairs working. So it's like we
Yeah.
meet in the kitchen for philosophical discussions every now and again.
Brilliant. Yeah. Melody, before we talk about your writing and the three titles on Amazon, Falls to Breath, Burning
Mm.
Down Rome, and Lights of Polaris, tell us what you do to relax. Have you got any hobbies?
I pretty much read and write all the time.
Yeah.
I'm really obsessive. I'm just a workaholic. I have a lot of interests. I mean, I have a lot of things that like I do research in and play around with, but I would tell you that I knit, but I'm a terrible knitter. Yeah. So I kind of do that every once in a while if I just need to space out,
Yeah.
but that's about it. I pretty much just books.
Okay.
Just I'm a true nerd.
I love the office space behind you, the bookshelves.
Oh, thank you. My daughter actually built that. It's a floor to
What?
ceiling. Yeah, it's a floor
Really?
to ceiling library system. Yeah, I went away for a weekend and I came home and she had built me a library wall.
They're all separate
It's
boxes,
my
are
That's
they?
amazing.
It is.
Yeah,
Looks great,
yeah,
doesn't it?
they're crates. She built it out of crates and little posts.
I think that's the
That's
best one we've
brilliant.
seen, Steve. Do you reckon?
Yeah, that's really good, that, isn't it? I like that.
Yeah,
It
she's
looks
amazing.
really professional as
It
well,
does.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's floor to ceiling, wall to wall. My living room, I actually don't even have a television in. I'm such a nerd. It's just a big library room with the little barrel chairs and a little sofa and books everywhere. Yeah, I
I
went
love
away
it.
for a weekend. She built it for me.
I love it. It sounds great.
Yeah,
Sounds
she's
ideal.
handy.
Yeah. Were you
Yeah.
encouraged by a teacher at school or something, or
Yeah,
something?
well, writing kind of runs in my family. Like on my mom's side, or actually, he would be my third cousin, was Percy Shelley.
Oh,
And on my dad's side, my ninth great grandfather is actually John Milton.
wow.
Paradise, yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of in my blood. So I started writing really young, like not writing, but coming up with poems and, sitting at the kitchen table and there was this little candle holder and it was two horses and they were holding a big what's the word, I can't think of it, a goblet.
Yeah.
And I would try to
Yeah, yeah.
write and try to describe all the colors, and just kind of like that. And then when I was in seventh grade, there was an assignment where everyone had to write a short story. So I wrote this short story. And what we didn't know when we wrote the short story was they were going to have a school-wide young authors contest and, take all the best stories. Well, I won that. This was when I was 12.
Yeah.
I won that. And then there was a district young authors contest and the book won that. And then actually it's kind of funny now because after I won that, and they had done the statewide. After I had done that, all the states, or the winners from the different districts, went to Illinois State University, which is why I say it's funny, because Illinois State University is literally, I could walk to it. It's down the street. It's down the street from where I live now. At the time I was up by Chicago. Yeah. Anyway, so after that, she thought that it was worthy of publishing in this literary magazine for young authors, obviously. So she submitted it, and that was the first time I got published, was that same short story that sort of went through all these different steps. And that just led to, I figured out that I could make money writing. So I started, by the time I was in high school, like when I was 14, I just entered every essay contest and short story contest, anything I could find. You know, back then you make $20 for winning a contest and you were rich. And if you didn't win, so what, you know, just go on to the next one. So I was freelancing all through high school. Didn't quite realize that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing.
Okay.
And then graduated high school and actually stopped writing for several years and started again when I was in my mid-20s.
You mentioned in your bio as well something about electrical storm that could have had some influence on your life.
Yes, I love that story. It's actually the story of my birth. I was born at like 3:32 in the morning during, you know, the witching hours, during an electrical storm that knocked the power out of town for 3 days. Yeah, true story.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad got stuck in an elevator while I was being born. My father was stuck in an elevator. It's like this whole big fiasco about my entrance into this world.
Brilliant. So I'm still blown away with the thought of, you know, Shelley, Milton.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
still going through my mind. Yeah. That's
yeah.
certainly
It blows me away too, actually.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, you know, like, and then I think about, you know, like this drive that I had to tell stories and write stories. And I'm just like, it's in my genes. Like,
Yeah,
this is
definitely,
genetic.
Yeah.
No fighting it. I just got to do it.
Can I ask, just changing the subject slightly, besides the 3 titles on Amazon, what's not on Amazon? And I couldn't find it. Your bestseller, After Forever
Yes.
Ends.
Yes, actually,
is it still available?
That was only ever on ebook. And if if you do the paperback stay, because they can be resold, but they'll take the ebook off completely. So I had to remove that. And the reason why I had to remove it was because there are song lyrics in it. I actually got a license to use song lyrics, but I could only sell 10,000 copies. So when I sold my 10,000 copy, I had to take it down. So I either have to get it relicensed, which was a hassle, and I was busy with other things, so I never quite got it done. I either need to get it relicensed or I need to re-edit it without the song lyrics.
10,000 sales. Wow.
Yeah. It was
pretty good.
Surprise success.
Wow.
Yeah, that was and that book, excuse me, to me was my art piece. Like everything technically by traditional publishing standards that I could have done wrong, I kind of did wrong. And I kind of did it on purpose because I wanted it to be the way that it was. Yeah. And it would have, if I would have submitted it to an editor, never would have published it. But it was my biggest selling book. It was just as far as indie publishing, it was like a smashing success.
Brilliant.
I was just going to mention publishing. So your publisher, is it independent totally, or is it something that you found or you did? Can you just explain what happened there?
With Mutiny Rising Press?
Yeah.
Oh, that's me. That's my publishing company. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That makes a bit more sense now. I wasn't too sure. Yeah. I wasn't sure of that. And I'm like, yeah, what's this publisher then? But yeah, that makes sense now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's just me. That's my imprint. I used to, when I did After Forever Ends, I actually used the publishing name Ginger Snap Press because red hair. So it was Ginger Snap Press. But I decided I wanted to change that. And the Mutiny Rising actually comes from it's a throwback to Burning Down Rome.
Okay, so your latest release, Falls the Breath, is it? Yeah, Falls the Breath.
Yes.
That's the first in a trilogy. The BRIMFIELD Ghosts. So tell us a bit about that. Is it paranormal fiction?
Yeah, it's like paranormal urban fiction, I suppose, or urban fantasy, I suppose you would call it. All of my books, I'm not I wouldn't say there's no plot in my books, but I'm more of a character driven writer. So I kind of always blend into like this literary fiction type thing. I could sit here and give you 6 genres and they would all fit what I'm doing. So no, so I'm terrible in a pitch and you're catching me.
Ah.
Don't ever ask me to throw a pitch because I'll go.
It's easy writing, isn't it? Some writers say on
Yeah,
the
it is.
synopsis or the blurb on the back of the book.
Yeah, it is. And then you're like, well, tell me what it's about. And I just go, I can tell you like what the reason behind why I wrote it and everything else, but give me a second here to kind of collect myself. So it's actually sort of a life story. And as strange as that sounds, because it starts off with 2 ghosts, but their life continues after their death. So it's a life story that progresses from these 2 ghosts that are just sort of stuck in this turn of the century mansion and they're just doing their own thing. And then 2 little girls move into the house and they can see and hear them. And the living and the dead literally collide and they become enveloped in each other's sort of life as the story goes on. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but oh, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Problem.
So even the house itself, even Brimfield itself, I sort of tried to, because it is where the majority of things in the story take place, the house itself, almost like Fall of the House of Usher type thing. The house itself had to become a character and had to have its own feel. So there's the theme of the house that runs through it too. And when I came up with the idea, I needed a place where children had been born, there had been a murder, natural death, and suicide all on a ley line.
Ah, okay.
So it just becomes this sort of vortex of life and death swirling in one place, if that makes any sense. And I'm telling you nothing about the plot line here, but
no, it makes it intriguing,
sort of
I think.
It's sort of the feel of the book.
First part of a trilogy. Have you got the other 2? Have you started writing the part 2 and 3?
Books 2 and 3 are already written. Originally, I had it a 6th book, and then I realized that was a little too self-indulgent. Just to be honest, it was a little too self-indulgent. So I took each 2 books and turned them into 1. So book 1 obviously has been published, and book 2, I have to make some editing adjustments because of some changes that I made in book 1. So I'm doing that currently. I'm hoping to have that out. I'd like to have it out in 6 months, but we'll see because I'm not going to rush it. But definitely by this time next year, it should be out.
Okay.
And then sorry, go ahead.
So you're hoping to have the 3rd one out, what, a year after that again, or?
Hopefully sooner. Hopefully I won't have to make as many changes. We'll see how that goes. But they're already written. It's all written. It's just a matter of condensing 2 books into 1 and then making sure that it flows from the book before.
That's one of the benefits of having your own setup, isn't it, for your own publishing, being self-published. I think in theory, you'd wait a year maybe for a traditional publisher and you wouldn't be able to make any changes. It gives you that certain element of freedom, doesn't it? To do the things at your own pace.
Yeah.
And I had originally planned to have these traditionally published. In fact, I had some interest from a big New York agent who looked it over, and she had it for 6 months. She held on to it for 6 months and then got back to me and said, you know, basically there's absolutely nothing wrong with this, and this could be successful, but I have tons of clients and I'm not sure that I can give this what it needs. I think she said she couldn't give it what it needed to scream. I think those were her words.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to make this scream. And then she told me to, you know, go on and find another agent, which was nice. You know, I mean, it was kind of disappointing because it would have been nice to have a big agent. But after that happened, because of my cystic fibrosis activism and the fact that there is a character in the book that has cystic fibrosis, and I had planned on giving the money from the books to charity, I was like, you know what, CF can't wait. It just can't wait. The need is too great, and I don't want to spend another 2 years. You know, once I get an agent, it's going to take 2 years to get through editing and everything else. And I'm going to go ahead and self-publish it, and, you know, hope that I have the same success that I had with After Forever Ends, and keep more money than I would, you know, sharing with a publisher,
Of course.
and go ahead and give that to charity. So I decided to go ahead and self-publish at that point.
Okay. You mentioned that there's a page on your website, melodieramone.com, dedicated to cystic fibrosis advocacy. Tell us how you become involved with the cause and the organizations, the Bonnell Foundation and the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation.
Yes. Well, like I said, I needed a natural death, and I needed a character that was getting a young character that was getting progressively sick. And I honestly came across this. I mean, I'd heard of cystic fibrosis. I think most people have at least heard of it, might not know what it is, but they've heard of it. Yeah. I came across it. I was just looking for symptoms, right? Yeah. I always feel a little, like, not embarrassed, a little, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to say ashamed of myself for having not known, because now that I know, I just wish that I had known sooner. But so I stumbled across it and I started doing research, and I just kept, you know, and I'm not the kind of writer that's going to take a serious illness and use it as some kind of a hook. Like, I'm just not going to do that. I think that's insensitive. And I think it's lazy. So I started doing research, and I wanted to really find out everything I could find out about it. And I'm reading blogs, and I'm watching vlogs and old old newscasts and things. And the more I'm watching this, the more I'm just thinking, oh my God, like, just my heart just kept sinking. And I came across a video. It was a news piece, and it started off as just a local report on this little girl that had cystic fibrosis. And it was just like a local news piece, you know, like this for like public education. Yeah. But during the course of this video, they showed the video, and they just showed this little 8-year-old little girl, and the mom talked about the problems and how, you know, how hard it is to take care of it. And they were talking about the pharma and, you know, different things like that. And then at the end of the video, they're like, we have a sad update, and this little girl had passed away. Oh. And I literally hit the space key to pause the video, and I leaned back in my chair, and I literally leaned back in my chair, and I said, oh, hell no. I was just done. Like, it's a horrible disease. What can happen without medication? And these people that suffer from it are fighting to get life-saving drugs. Like, they're not easy to get. And I just decided right there and then that it was definitely going to be CF, and I was definitely going to do something about it. And I just, as far as my advocacy with the CF Foundation, I mean, I've talked to some people over there, and I've been involved in some fundraising, but more or less my limit with them has been just, I'm a monthly donor, and I raise awareness as much as I possibly can. The Bonnell Foundation, I actually have become friends with the founder, Laura Bonnell. And I am a monthly donor to her cause too, but all of the proceeds from the online books sold are going directly to the Bonnell Foundation to support her work. You can be very successful with self-publishing. You know, you got to kind of play it right, and you've got to invest your time and your money into it, but it can happen. And when that happens, you know, all the proceeds are yours. to do with as you wish. And I wanted to make as much money for the Bonnell Foundation as I possibly could. So that's ultimately why I decided to go ahead and self-publish. I'm sure I could have found an agent, and I'm sure that I could have gotten these traditionally published, but I just didn't have the patience for it. I just wanted to move forward.
No, that's fine. Yeah, everyone's got a slightly different story on that, and it's just interesting to know. It really is.
And the freedom is nice too. Like you were saying earlier, the freedom is nice. Like I can do exactly what I want to do, and nobody's going to tell me.
Yeah, you can set the price, can't you? You can do a giveaway if you felt like. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did the cover. I've done all the ads, all the artwork, all that stuff. It's all been mine. So that's nice. That's freedom. That's creative freedom for me, and I don't like being put in a cage. So.
Melodie, tell us about your writing routine. You mentioned earlier that that's part of your hobby, is writing. Do you have a daily word count, or a writing room? Is that what your desk now where you do your writing?
No, I write in different spots around the house. It just kind of depends. I'll find myself getting in a rut. Like if I'm downstairs working, I'll get in a rut and I'll come up here and like work on the couch for a couple of days, and it just kind of, because it's dark downstairs, so the sunlight will come in or whatever, and it'll kind of help bring me back into a writing frame of mind. But no, I don't really have my routine is I get up, I get a cup of coffee, and I am either editing or I'm writing. That's just it. And it, for me, if I start to feel like I'm pushing too hard, if I start to feel like it's not flowing, I just stop. I'll just get up and take the dog for a walk or whatever. But usually within 20 minutes of getting up, I'll think about something, and I'll have to, either scribble it down on a piece of paper or go into I've got these files where I keep little snippets of thoughts or ideas or whatever, dialogue, and I'll just have to go type them in real quick. And then I'm pretty much just writing again.
Okay.
All day. I am a writing nerd to the core.
But do you write do you plot your story, or are you just a pantser, wherever comes into your head? I
am a total complete pantser. I cannot, I would like, if I had to write an outline, like people are like, write a book in 30 days, and then they give you exactly how to do your outline. Oh my gosh, that just makes me want to just, it just makes my head feel like it's going to pop. I can't tell you what my characters are going to do. They're all crazy. They just do what they want. And in fact, it's funny because I feel like it's sort of like a schizophrenic process for me, because I honestly feel like sometimes my characters are talking to me, right? So when I was writing Burning Down Rome, I decided what was going to happen. I decided what they were going to do. And I swear that one of the characters' name was Joey. Joey wouldn't talk to me. It was like he was mad at me. And I was trying to force this, and it wasn't flowing. And I was like, I couldn't get into Joey's head no matter what I did. So I finally just stopped writing. I think I didn't write for like a day or whatever. And I was laying in bed, and it was dark in the room, and I couldn't sleep, and I was stuck on, I just don't know where this is going to go. And I remember I literally rolled over, and I was like, oh my God, that's what they did. And I jumped up and completely deleted the chapter I was working on. And it was like Joey started talking to me again. And I'm like, okay, that's what Joey did. And that's how, and I got like that chapter like banged out in like, I don't know, a couple of hours. But yeah, I can't make them do anything. They take me over.
Yeah. Do you find, if you mentioned that to other people, do you think you're insane? I know writers, we all the writers we talk to, do the same thing. The characters do their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. You can't make them do anything, because the minute that you do, it either is terrible writing, or they just, wake you up at, won't let you go to sleep. And then like, oh, okay, I finally listened to you. Now I know what you did, and then go and change everything.
With you mentioning that, then, are you one of these who's got sticky notes plastered all around your house? You sound like it.
Yeah, I actually don't have sticky notes. What I have is it's funny. It's a boot hanger. Those hangers with the clips, and I've got like these little legal pads that are like that big, and I've got all these scribbles on there, and they're all in a boot hanger on my refrigerator. That's where they're at. So every once in a while, I got to get out there and go through like 20 pages to find the little thing that I want.
Yeah.
Or like I said, I've got little computer files and all these different paragraphs and bits and pieces of dialogue, or sometimes it's just like a word, you know, like 2 words or something. Like one of the lines that I have written down, and I actually just saw this and I was like, that's a great line, is 3 words: grief is feral.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's my line or if I heard that somewhere, but that was the line. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know that came from my head. I might have heard that somewhere. I'm not sure, but I just thought, wow, that could take you in a million directions.
Yeah,
Grief
no.
is feral. Like,
Well, you've got a Schnauzer, a
yes,
load of cats, and a couple of rabbits to contend with as well. So
yes,
how do you cope with them going on? Or are they out the room when you're doing writing, or do you?
they're all over the place. They're sprawling like the savannah everywhere. Yeah. I work with some, not so much now because my daughter moved back in the house and she brought in her pet, so I don't have the space. But I worked with a small animal rescue, and we used to foster rabbits. I have a Flemish giant. I love him. I wish I could show him to you. He's this big 17-pound bunny with ears like Bugs Bunny, big gray boy. Yeah, he's great. And he has a tiny girlfriend. He has a dwarf Lop Holland. It's his little tiny girlfriend. They run around downstairs. They rule the downstairs. And then we've got our rescue cats and my Schnauzer that also was a rescue. So we're pretty altruistic when it comes to animals. They need good homes. So
and all in a yellow house as well. Is that right?
All in a relatively small yellow house. Hopefully going to paint that house. It's sunshine yellow. I didn't choose the color. I just bought the house. It needs painting.
Nice.
So.
It sounds really bright though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it really is. I mean, it's all you can see when you turn the corner. It's like we've got white houses all around, and then this big butter sunshine yellow house sort of glowing in the center of the block. And that's us.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. I'm trying to make out titles on the books behind you. What type of fiction do you enjoy?
You know, my heart is in 19th century literature.
Oh, yeah.
I love Dickens. Well, you know, when I found out that I was related to Shelley, I started reading a lot of, Shelley, a lot of poetry. I just love that. I love 19th and some 18th century Gothic
Frankenstein
literature. Yeah, I'm such a big nerd, but I read everything. I mean, if you could see the rest of my bookshelves, I've got everything from some YA. I've got like sci-fi, and I've got my Dune collection, and you name it. I have a pretty broad interest in reading. I read a lot of nonfiction too.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like a wide range of genres there.
Yeah, it's not exactly organized either. When my daughter built the shelf, she obviously took all my books off where they had been, and I asked her to put them back, like put them back according to genre and author. And I don't know why you'd separate Steinbeck from Steinbeck, but she did it. There's some Steinbeck up there, some Steinbeck down there. And I haven't gotten around to rearranging it yet. So
it looks tidy to me compared to mine.
Yeah, but I bet you know where they all are, don't you? Anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. I can find them. Yeah, I can find them.
Yeah. So finally, from me, what advice do you give to somebody who comes up to you and says, "I want to write a book. What do we do and where do we start?"
I tell them a few things. The first thing I would probably say is start early and decide what success means to you. Exactly what your personal success would mean, and don't make it about money. Know what your goals are, know what you want your reader to get out of what you're writing, know what you want to get out of your own writing, your expression, and honestly, what you would like to get back from your readers. I think it's really important for writers to understand that stories are important. Young adult writers, middle grade writers, children's writers, they shape minds. And when you're writing, you need to know, do you want to change minds? Do you want to entertain? If all you want to do is make people laugh, that's great. But, really understand what your goals are. And you know, writing shouldn't be easy. It's not easy. It's hard. And when it's hard is when you're going to get the most out of it. But at the same time, if you're not finding joy in it, if there is no joy in it for you, it's not for you. You can't do it. So there are other creative expressions that you can do that you might find joy in. If you can't get through the hard stuff, if you're not finding purpose in the hard stuff, there's no shame in walking away or trying something different.
It's fine.
I thought it was
Again,
brilliant.
it's interesting just to get an angle from everyone we speak to about what they think. Yeah.
That's it. Look, as I said, mentioned Melodie. It looks like time's caught up with us, but it's been an absolute joy chatting with you for the past, feels like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah, it's flown by, hasn't it? It's flown by.
Indeed. Yeah. So let's keep in touch as we have been, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. But for now, Melodie, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. You guys have a great day or a great night,
Andrew.
actually.
And you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.